So, in the trial, body cam footage from Officer Thomas Lane, former Officer Thomas Lane, was released. Thomas Lane is one of the officers involved in the murder of George Floyd, and in his body cam footage, what we see is when he approaches George Floyd's car, he taps on the window with his baton. And then he says, "Get the F out the car," as he pulls out his gun. Thomas Lane goes from 0 to 80 in 5 seconds. The aggression was unbridled. The approach was completely inhumane. And for people that were just watching it, there was really no justification for why Thomas Lane turned up the way that he did. There was nothing that George was doing on his end. I mean, George literally was emotionally incapacitated, and you know, when you see the cops, oh, yet again, here we are. So we saw that side. We saw Thomas Lane put out an aggression from 0 to 80 in 5 seconds. Next, what we see is Thomas Lane in a car with the firefighter telling them what happened. Oh, this guy, he had his hand on the wheel. I didn't know if he was gonna leave. He was really out of control, this is that and the third. And now we hear Thomas Lane retelling an entirely different story than what we just saw on the body cam. I'll go back to what people will then try to tell you. When you saw what happened, I've never watched the video of George Floyd being murdered, but when you saw the murder of George Floyd, folks will even tell you that you didn't see what you saw. It is quite the time that you can watch something and for somebody to tell you, well, what you saw actually wasn't what you saw. Okay, so Thomas Lane did one of two things. He unintentionally lied or intentionally lied. If he unintentionally lied and said, yeah, you know, this guy's out of control and he had his hand on the wheel and I didn't know what was going to happen, then something pathologically is off with Thomas Lane, and he doesn't have any business being near a police uniform or gun, anything of that manner. If he intentionally did it, then you have somebody intentionally trying to spin the narrative and exonerate themselves of a public execution of a black man. We see this in media, we see this in a lot of YouTube comments that'll probably pop up on this video, who knows, but we see it all the time. The narrative is powerful, and when we put narratives on film, we see exactly what happened. But Thomas Lane is telling us that we didn't see what we saw. And the nature of the lie was so egregious, it probably stirred up some emotions in you. It sure stirred up some emotions in me. But I want you to keep in mind how powerful is the narrative of black folks, and when we talk about public executions of black men, when they're being retold and mistold by cops. Really engage with that. And also take upon yourself believing what you saw. Believing what you saw and giving yourself some agency in that. But I wanted to hone in on that part where you see what Thomas did, which was unbridled aggression, and then what Thomas said he did afterwards, and the framing that he gave it. So take that into account over the entirety of what you're seeing here, and kind of give yourself some grace in what you're watching.